Every person differs in how they hear sound, read text, interpret visual imagery, and navigate a computer. As purveyors of knowledge, we need to include everybody by making our web content accessible. But perhaps you may be wondering, okay, who decides what is and is not accessible? Well, lucky you, I have the answer, and it's in the form of an acronym. I know, exciting, right? We in higher ed just love our acronyms. WCAG decides. In 1999, Tim Berners-Lee pulled together a group of experts in the field to create the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. If we follow these guidelines, we can be reasonably certain that every single student can perceive, operate, and understand our digital content. These are the principles used to inform accessibility. If you have spare time, say maybe a month or possibly a decade, have a go at the WCAG site. It's massive and full of technical jargon. Fortunately, there's a comprehensive glossary of terms. All joking aside, this video provides a crash course about perceive and operate. It's our starting point for all upcoming videos on how to make content accessible. Because we're educators. We like to know the why before we move on to the how. Also, let's go over some basic terms. Information refers to our content, text, images, audio, video, etc. User interface refers to how students interact with their computers to get our information. In addition to keyboard and mouse interfaces, some students use screen readers and other forms of assistive technology to interact with our information. Students need to recognize and understand information. This is perceivability, and it means that our videos must be captioned. Our images should have meaningful alternative text, and we include text-based alternatives for our audio files. Also, we need to be certain that our students could use any type of interface to perceive our information. But perceivability also applies to text. For example, color cannot convey meaning. You may think this is working, but here's what a visually impaired student sees, and here's how a person with ADHD feels when they look at it. We'll go over captions, meaningful alternative text, table sequencing, and how to give up your insistence on rainbow paragraphs in upcoming videos. Let's say your stuff is perceivable. Can your students act on it? You may be thinking, she knows I teach economics, not theater, right? Acting in this case means performing all tasks with any type of user interface. This represents the WCAG principle, operable. For example, can the student act on the information using a keyboard instead of a mouse? I bring your attention to the ambiguous anchor text error. Now, I want you to close your eyes as I read this to you. Ready? No peeking. Click here for more information. Now open your eyes. Is this where you meant by here? Nope. Oh, come on. Who doesn't like reading about unicorns? A link is considered ambiguous if a student has to read the text surrounding the link or see nearby images in order to know what will happen when they select the link. We'll cover web links using styles and headers and other ways to make information operable in upcoming videos. This concludes our crash course, but perhaps you're thinking, wait a minute, you said students need to understand our information. Why aren't you covering the understand principle? You are quite inquisitive. Understandable means that the student can make sense of your information. And this gets complicated in our higher ed universe. WCAG says, hey, You can't use a bunch of unfamiliar words or abbreviations or overly complex instructions that most people would not understand. Try telling that to a chemistry professor. Next up in our series, we'll cover how not all captions are created equal and how you can find the good stuff using the YouTube filter.